Just one more second. You know, I was gonna link this to Facebook, but realistically, I mean, if anybody has managed to wander over here, that would be cool. But I don't think there's anyone. Man, yeah, okay, it doesn't look like there is, but I can do this, maybe? And then have this here. Could even go like that. Bring the chat over. You guys can't see the chat, but I can. Maybe? Maybe not. Nope. Nope, nope. Well, that's all right. It's not important for what I'm doing anyway. But yeah, let's get this world loaded and voting. Yes. Cuz it's getting to be that time again in America. If we were going to have a real election this year, we'd still be going through the primaries. But we already know which two geriatrics are on the ballot, and yeah, that's how it be. So last time OBS was just killing me, and it chopped out like 15 minutes of what I was trying to say, and I didn't feel good about how that was all organized. So I did spend a little bit of time writing some of my thoughts down for all this. You know, because it's important. And the funny thing is, you know, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm going to grab some of these slabs, and then, is it this? Is this the recipe? Or is, aha. I think this is the recipe. Yes, it is. All right. Let's just go ahead and make 2 of those right now. I'm going to put a bookcase in. Well, you know, this is what it's all about with playing Minecraft sometimes. We'll get to the voting thing. Don't you worry about that. As I was saying, I've got something written down here, and I'm probably going to end up just reading through it and then adding on to the end because I didn't finish writing everything I was thinking. But honestly, I've been kind of itching to play too. I'm very, very. I'm going to talk about Minecraft first, and you know, if you feel like I'm baiting and switching you, that's fine. Let me know in the comments. I will. It's a unique opportunity. I'm small enough, I'll actually read through all that stuff. Plus, I've been kind of trained to do that from all the years on Facebook. Yeah. So, I need to figure out where I want to put these bookcases. And this is looking like it. Yep. I'm just going to go ahead and decide that's it. Let's pop that in there too. All right. And yeah, I guess that's what a lot of this is going to end up actually looking like. That's cool though. I dig it. I'm digging it. I'm digging it. Feeling it. Um yeah. Need some more cracked bricks though. What do we got for options? Ooh. Ooh, that's rough. Actually, I'm gonna pop this wall out and continue to not talk about voting. Nah, and like I'm gonna, let's front load with some of the context of what I've been dealing with. And it's in a weird way, it kind of feels like karma. Like I'm not even kidding about that. And it's because I used to be one of the people who would say voting doesn't matter. In fact, I went honestly further, and I used to say if I really cared, if I was really motivated enough in politics, I would find a way to bribe a politician. I used to say that a lot, and I think most people took it as a joke, and I think I even meant it as a joke a few times. um, but if I had ever engaged in such behavior, it would have been long enough that the statute of limitations for such crimes would have run out by now. And I know that's true because all the other stuff that was connected to it stopped a long time ago, that long ago for me as well. Might have been coincidentally right around the time that I got online and kind of became a hermit. Might have been like I washed my hands of a whole career. Um, and while I'm not going to go into serious detail about any of that stuff, it's because I fundamentally believe that while those details are entertaining, they're not actually pertinent to the core ideas. If I had decided to stay in college and been allowed to continue being pushed down the route to being a writing teacher, I would have ended up being a creative writing teacher, probably specialized in fictional works. And I already know that I would have picked as my master's thesis and then probably into my doctoral thesis. My master's thesis would have been on probably fables or mythology as it expanded, and possibly that as history too, like some blending in between that. But I know the thing I would have wanted to prove for a doctoral thesis, absolutely, because to the best of my knowledge, this still has not been done. Because why would you want to do this? And I would prove with a group of, various groups of subjects and all that, I would prove that I could teach ideas and concepts, like a specific idea and concept, probably several actually, well into proficiency, with just fictional stories and fictional works. I think knowledge is more than accuracy in some fields. Like, okay, I'm not going to talk about truth today. That's a philosophical concept. Shorthand, it is better to say true things than to not. Except, it is better to say true things except for when it is not. And I will, the only hint I'll say about that is that if Immanuel Kant was ever placed in front of me alive, I would tell him that I disagree. And sometime after that, I would try to get him to hit me, but I don't know. I just want to punch that man. I want to punch that man for the things he wrote, because they're so wrong, and there's so many exceptions on the subject of honesty and like all that, or rather the morality of a lie. And yeah, that was not where I wanted to go. Attention deficit disorder still confirmed. Anyway, to actually get this back on track, I should probably like pull out the written and read a bit from the written. Oh wow, what a fish, kettle of fish. So that's set up over there. What else do I need to do? Well, I need to pull down this dirt. I once heard John's, or no, I probably read it. John Scalzi, an author whose blog I also used to follow quite regularly. Less so after his daughter took it over, but mostly because the timing just coincidentally was there with me attempting to like focus on my own writing and stuff. Attempting, I say. I have fears that I have waited too long, and that I might not actually be able to physically write long enough anymore. Probably just arthritis. And if it becomes bad enough, I will go to a doctor. But I also work with my hands, and maybe they're just not holding up. And I play video games. Use my hands all day. They don't get much rest. It's part of the reason I'm not working the controls right now. And why these plays of Minecaft, even though I very much love this game, and used to play it for many, many hours each day over the last few years, just can't use keyboard controls anymore. Not for long periods of time. Not without drinking whiskey or taking blood thinners of some kind. Let that be a lesson to everyone under 40. You play your video games now while you can. It gets a little harder as you get older. You know, things just wear out. So I was going to put in part of the new wall. Yes, I like that. Good with that. Let's put that there. Get this door back on here. Pop that off. Dirt is precious to me. Precious. And I will definitely show you all about that, why dirt matters to me so much. Little later. Probably not today. Still using wood as filler. And the whole reason I use wood as a filler is because wood's easy to just keep like regenerating. Like you can duplicate a lot of materials, and there's like, you know, like stone and all that. Like stone used to be my go-to. Actually, dirt used to, but then packed mud became a thing. And I'm having a love affair with that block. We'll be getting to that. Alright, in you go. We're just doing that. And that means it's time for, let's see, what's going on that way? That's going that way. So, down, down, down. Yeah, let's go this way. But, you know, get some more of this diorite. I will use it. But the big thing is going to actually end up being stone. More stone very soon. So, voting is a necessary evil. Like, when I say that, it's because I don't feel like a lot of the people I see talking online have a real grasp for what politics, I mean, not politics, but like, you know, what the vote is about. I would say that there's like a lot of people that have never really like thought about the vote as it pertains to America. You know, or like it's not something, it's not a conversational topic that I see a lot of either. I mean, what does that all mean? Like, you know, what are we supposed to get out of voting? And, you know, I would think that this question would have come up considering how dissatisfied, generally Americans are with, voting and the mechanism that is, you know, it's intended for us to be able to, change our government. And it doesn't seem to change. And why is that? Well, you know, I've heard a lot of ideas and talk online about why it is, but not why it is, if that makes sense. Like nobody actually knows. And, you know, I've heard some of the great philosophical and political minds of the world, like Noam Chomsky, you know, I'm blanking on how to say Zizek's whole name. Slezhov? Zizek? Yeah. And as well as like several others, like casually, like one off, who I just didn't end up following like with regularity. Plus, like, you know, the standard stock of YouTube commentators. I mean, lots of people willing to give opinions online. Some of them probably even correct. But, you know, I more and more I keep finding people who essentially think or like say the same things that I would or would have if I just thought of them, you know, not assumed that they were just something everybody kind of knew. Like, yeah. and or even knew how to access. Like that has often been practically like gaslit into believing that I don't know anything. Not even how to properly speak. But like seriousness. It's just like there is so much misinformation and all that out there at this point. I feel like you're always going to end up having to be a little like suspicious, and not even because like people are necessarily trying to hoodwink you. There are certainly those out there, but a lot of people just don't know that they are wrong and don't know how to might not even know how to process or go around correcting that. Um, you know, or they'll say they do and they don't. Like that happens too. Um, yeah, what am I doing there? It's okay. Um, Seeing people say something that I feel is very, very silly. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. OBS is cutting in and out again. Well, maybe I do need to just record these as videos and upload them. That's like learning a whole new skill set though, and I don't know if I'm really ready for that. Um, I'm just kidding. I know I'm gonna have to do it. I'm just putting it off because I don't feel like, well, I keep saying it's all just practice. And that's still pretty much true. I'm trying to figure it out. Oh, that would be bad. All right. Then we throw that in. And get stalled. Because what I want to do is knock these out. Do the roof in white. Gotta take it down. It's so sad. So I decided to do the ceiling walls like that, huh? Well, seems pragmatic. A little bit. Maybe I'll change that out later. Yeah, I just don't think a lot of people that vote. I don't think voting is in effect. Voting in America is in effect what a lot of people think it is. Um, and I also, so my oh man, the next time I do this, I'm absolutely going to stop trying to reference everything, but maybe that's just what ends up becoming my jam, as well as taking dabs. So we'll go ahead and start with. So what I wrote was, I want to open with the assertion that voting and active support are not the same thing. Are not the same thing in American politics. One can lead to the other, but casting ballots twice every 2 years isn't declaring support, because the vote options we are given rarely seem to reflect the choices we desire individually and as a country. Simply put, Americans are given a choice between an apple and a pear, but what most of us want is a banana. Um, and then it goes on and on, because like that's a crappy choice, you know, like, but that's often what we get, for at the end of the day, because most people do not like Republicans, and most people do not like Democrats. And I'm willing to make that assertion solely off of voter turnout, because we rarely have even 50% turnout for votes in this country. We have an abysmal voting rate worldwide, as I understand it. And, of the people that do vote, it's roughly like 20 some odd. I think I heard the statistic at one point in the last decade was like 22% identify as Democrats, and 26 or something percent of the voting republic, considers themselves Republicans. But it's not 50-50. And so we really have like two parties that, even if they were the exact same thing, and they're very much not, but even if they were, that would still not be something that the majority of the population here would want to even engage with. And the core reason I had back when I did that, is, it was just, I never saw myself there. I never saw anyone really, representing even things that I wanted. Not even like, they just never offered anything. And it's usually like there's a bunch of fear mongering and all that. And that has all just gotten worse and worse. And I watched the Republican Party turn from something I very much liked when I was in elementary school, into the racist, anti-democratic MAGA cult that it currently is. And I know there's a lot of people that want to draw distinctions between, the regular Republicans and, the MAGA Republicans, but they're all, the whole leadership, everyone holding office under the little or big R, is racist and bigoted in some way. And worse, like, want to actively enact laws that we haven't seen in this country in decades, or to reverse like changes that are less than a decade old. The fight for civil rights in this country for a lot of people is very much not over. And it's not, like, I'm not even talking about like Roe versus Wade. We were warned about that. We were told that would happen. And it played out pretty much exactly like everyone said it would on the Democrat side. But they didn't. I didn't vote for Hillary. And that's kind of where it was for me. So I voted back in 2000 because Ralph Nader was a really cool guy. that got the automobile companies to standardize seatbelts. And while I have been known to argue against wearing my seatbelt, I always believed it was a good safety option because the data and everything just showed that it saved lives. And car companies just didn't want to put a safety feature in to save money. And this he beat them on that, but they fight on every aspect of everything that is ever done. That's why I don't like private companies, because they do it in the name of saving on the cost of making things, and that's supposed to benefit everybody, but it doesn't benefit the people that, get hurt or die or get sick or what have you from bad products. like um it's like how I'm cool with syntaxes usually, though, as long as those syntaxes are being used to fund treatment of the thing. All the taxes on alcohol, you'd think at least some of them would go to free alcohol rehab clinics for people. But no, I guess we can't do that. Um anyway, yeah. So, but voting, that's not what voting's about usually. Voting's just about what's on the ballot. And I used to think it was okay to not show up if you didn't care what was on the ballot. In fact, there's not an argument that can be deployed that I have not used in the past since I was able to vote, back in 2000. Watched it happen. I was expecting Al Gore to win. I really was. I think everybody who voted Green was, but it wasn't even up to any of us. It was up to a court judge in Florida, and they ruled it wrong, but we went along with it anyway because we are a civil society. I feel like we're getting abused by the Republican Party. I feel like the American people are being asked to endure too much. And I feel like the Democratic Party is not helping us. This was not how I was planning on doing all this. And I'm just talking at this point, so there's no reason I can't be moving around and working on things. But yeah. In fact, I'm going to cut down some trees. Uh-huh. Yep. That is why. Okay. Do this. Gotta push the block back one. That's fine. Pop that out. Pop that in. There we go. Well, I guess I gotta make some stairs now. Yeah, and I've totally lost my thought again. That's alright. I'll watch all this back and I'll write stuff up again. And I'll probably just have to keep doing that. Just venting my thoughts in a really rough form like this. Get distracted, work on something, get distracted, work on something. And just, continue on in perpetuity until I actually get the whatchamacallit, get it done, get it what I want to say properly finished. I guess we're just taking this up now. That's fine. Because Yeah, so spawns around here somewhere. People see chest, be distracted, hopefully come over here and be like, oh, what's down here? Should make that an iron door with a weird mechanism for opening it. Right off the bat. Just immediately start messing with the players. This is very tempting, actually. Just because it'd be so funny. Oh, that's a terrible spot for that. It's a terrible spot, terrible spot, terrible spot. Let's do a birch boat. Birch boat. Because I can at least go looking for interesting things. Oh, but it's about to be dark. Well, about to be dark probably means me fleeing. But... oh, and it's already been like 30 minutes. Oh well. Oh well, oh well. What I'm trying to say is voting is like brushing your teeth, and you should do it. Like, because there are real consequences right now to not doing it. And everybody gets like all weirded out, and they're like, oh, the Democrats always say that it's the most important, or something like that. Like I hear all this stuff. How can it always be the most important? It's like, well, if you really think about it, is a vote important after it's over? Like as a record, sure. We all did this thing, and we did it because X. But does a vote matter? And it does. I think it does, like, fundamentally, because if nothing else, in our civil society, it informs the ruling class of how the public is feeling. And I don't think that they have been listening for a while. And I think that the Democrats specifically just stopped trying to win. And I don't know why, but I know that they seem to think, and well, part of it is because they know that as long as they're less racist than the Republicans, they can capture minority votes. Like the threat of things that have been happening and the laws that are trying to be changed, like I gotta tell y'all, like, it is really messed up that, like, they're doing you can't say gay in schools. And that's happening here. Like, where I live. If my kid was in school, he would not be allowed, like, his teachers wouldn't be allowed to, like, tell him about me or, like, the history and all that. And it's not like I keep track of that shit. I'm the same as, like, any other, like, idiot out in the world. But, like, there is a history that has happened of, like, persecution and, like, I mean, even myself, Man, what happened with me? Like, here's the straight up truth of it. I can't prove that the phrase your alternative lifestyle is why I don't want to rent to you. Is a roundabout way of saying I don't want to rent to you because you're gay. But like, I never had a noise complaint. I rarely had people over. And like, I have that fucking guy. What is happening? Well, that was not good. It's the first damage I've taken. I don't think I've killed a mob. Yeah, I'm not talking about that anyway. But it is related. Like, I was evicted, and the reason given was because of my alternative lifestyle. I don't know. I don't even know what that means. Because he was just like, just made little devil horns with his hands when I asked him, what does that mean? Like, it was one of the most frustrating conversations I'd ever had with somebody. And it wasn't even the people that was renting to me. It was the owner of the property, and he went through a rental agency. He just happened to live next door, and he decided he didn't like me. And the only thing I can ever think of is that it had something to do with, like, he'd see me as standing across the street, you know, and I probably kissed a dude or two. Fucking so irritating. Man, to this day. But, you know, that was still legal when that happened. Happened a while ago. But I do remember. I remember at my previous job being warned by the secretary to never mention I had a boyfriend in front of the owner. And I was like, okay. I was employee of the month for like 18 months at that company. They fired me on Labor Day, said I was scheduled to work. No call, no show, automatic termination. 11 years out the door. Because that's what company loyalty will get you. I really was going to talk about voting. I'm going to end up having to change the title again. But as soon as it's light out, I will go out in a boat, and I will do something with that. Guess I could check the... Yep, nothing on chat. That's fine. Well. Oh, practice makes perfect. Maybe I'll actually just cut it. I'm not feeling it. Yeah. Oh well, I'm going to go ahead and change the title. And it's like, well, I do want to play. Maybe I'm just done, like, talking about it and thinking about it. Because I've been arguing about voting all week with people. And it's basically like, I'm not even telling people to vote because I feel like that would be hypocritical of me. And, like, I'm not going to tell people that they're, like, a bad person for voting, typically. But what has really been getting in my craw, what's really been pissing me off, is the number of people I've been seeing like saying they weren't going to vote. They're going to withhold their vote because the Democratic Party under Joe Biden is basically okaying the Palestinian genocide. And I got news for everybody. Like, that wouldn't change under Donald Trump. It just, that, you know, if the functional outcome of this is that is that Donald Trump becomes president, and that's the threat, well, you know, that's not a threat for everyone, but, I will not be able to go out to dinner with my boyfriend anymore. We will not be able to hold hands in public. It probably won't even be safe for us to, like, you know, be a couple in public anymore. And it really upsets me the number of people that, you know, in the last several years have argued, you know, like saying they support people like me and all that. And you know, now that there is a new crisis, and it is, you know, and actually it's not a new crisis. The Palestinian thing has been going on for 75 years, and the fact that we're watching what might be the very end of it, and like nobody cared about any of that stuff except when it's like convenient. And at this point, like, enough people are mad that we very likely will end up having Donald Trump as president again. And that will also mean that all the court cases, all the work, everything that's been done to try and like hold him to civil society, like, just been for nothing, because he will just end up being a dictator for the rest of his life. And he will essentially allow the Republicans to pass all the laws that they have been talking about passing. And like, ever since, and it's all just repeals of stuff dating back like 80 years at this point. Like, every bit of Social Security and like all that stuff, like, it's just gonna all be gone. This country will just tax people to fund the military, and taxes will continue to go up. Like, don't let them lie to you about that. They only cut taxes for people that make over fucking, you know, over like $250,000 a year or more. Like, that's if you're not in that tax bracket, you're not getting tax cuts. You will be taxed more, and companies will charge you more, and they will give you less for it. That is the only thing that will come of a Republican, you know, a Republican government in the state the Republican Party is in right now. And I'm not saying that it won't get bad under Democrats, but I don't see people actually lining up with pitchforks. I see them finally just now being willing to like withhold the vote. And all that's going to do in the face of this particular enemy, as this enemy has stated its goals are, will essentially lock everyone that isn't, you know, a white Christian, white cisgender straight Christian, eventually out of like the governmental system. They will deny us all health care. They'll deny us housing. They will deny us work. And then they will arrest and kill us for the measures we will be driven to. And the other half of the white people will be like, man, that sucks. I wish I wish all those other people would just settle down and behave. And I know it's going to be like that because that's what it was like before. And that's all they want to do, is take us back to that point. And I see people that were pretending to care about gay rights, a month ago. And they'll probably pretend to care about gay rights in 2 months from now. Being like, you know what? Nah, we'll make everything worse if we don't stop supporting the people that we've been supporting for 75 years while they've been murdering off the indigenous population of Palestine. Now, in the face of the greatest threat to the continuation of our democracy, in the face of watching red states slowly taking away the rights of any minority group they want to, even going so far as having shutting down the entire school system, threatening to arrest fucking teachers, doctors, whatever. That's all going on. And I understand that even though it has been declared legal for them to do so, the Democratic Party under Joe Biden's leadership, and Joe Biden specifically, will not order these states to comply with federal law or order soldiers in to force them to comply with state law. I understand that is a huge problem with the Democrats. But if those Republicans weren't in fucking office, then we'd just have weak pussy Democrats to yell at, and eventually they'd probably bend on some of this stuff. They'll probably bend on Palestine if people were actually calling their offices, if people were uniting. But this whole, we're going to not vote for you in November. In November? Really? November, 6 months from now. So what, when another city's worth of Palestinians have been killed? That's when the action's going to happen? I don't believe it. I don't believe it at all. And I feel greatly betrayed that it's even been brought up. And I've even had somebody say to me, I'm just going to actually vote for Trump if this all doesn't happen. I've been seeing people say that. I don't know if it's real or not, but it's real messed up. And I think that's what I actually want to say. I do want to actually talk about voting as a concept and democracy, because there's problems with them. And those need to be addressed as well. But I just, right up front, I'm just going to say it right now. I'm probably going to block anybody who advocates for not voting. I might be willing to have somebody onto my Discord or something and talk about it pace by pace. I'm certainly going to keep bringing it up, and eventually I'm going to have it all written out, and I'm just going to read it through piece by piece, all these arguments again, properly structured the way I write, because how I write and how I talk are two fucking different things. It is for most people, but I don't know, people like my writing. Um, it's why it's a little sad when I was talking about it at the beginning. Uh, I just can't physically do it anymore like I used to. That's part of the reason I'm online so much, and I fucking hate typing. Um, I type so much shit with my thumbs. Like, yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna end up calling this is trying to write about voting. I'm gonna rename it to that. Uh, the Democrats are pieces of shit, but the way to get rid of them is to vote them out in primaries and to talk to your neighbors and all that. It's not to withhold your vote. It's not to stop voting for them. We just need to start voting for the right ones. And you know what? The real solution is ranked choice voting, or another system that isn't first past the vote. While we're at first pass, the way it works, and like there's a lot to talk about with electors and the Democrats' the electoral college itself should be abolished, and we should move to the popular vote. Um, there's some other things that could be done, but like America needs electoral reform. But now is not the time. I mean, if you can get it on your ballot, fucking, if you can get it on if you can get ranked choice voting on your ballot, like, do it. But call your, I guess OBS is just totally fucking me again. So, all right, I've run out of steam. I'm done. I have a very purring cat here. I'm gonna pet her a whole bunch. Um, I'm gonna probably play a little bit more Minecraft offline because I didn't actually play. I just talked, and I'm gonna put some stills up from all of that once I've got some stuff finished. But and all of this stuff that I'm doing, I'm gonna try and like work out the transcripts and all that. Like what I'm writing for these pieces, they're all gonna be books, and they're gonna go into these bookcases because I'm gonna do this map is going to contain a library of like my various thoughts and like writings and all that. Um, because I think that would be a